Hey! Hello there! I got one person following me. Two. Three. Hello, everybody. This is Goldfinger from the Goldfinger Minute. All three of you. So, hello. I'm live again. This is Goldfinger from the Goldfinger Minute. And this is the Goldfinger Show. I have with me a friend. I'm waiting for a few more people to come on. Come here. Come here, little guy. Oh, this is my buddy. Hello, buddy. You gonna say hello? You gonna sniff? Sniff, sniff, sniff. This is my buddy Einstein. Einstein's my buddy. Andrew Bartholomew. Hello. Happy 4th of July. Yes, happy 4th of July. It was a great day here. We got, it's better than two. I don't know. This guy's my baby. It's mommy's dog, but he's such a sweetheart. He's just a good baby. He's a good baby. He's a comfort dog. Shih Tzus are very loving and very needy. This guy is, he just needs a whole lot of attention every day. Hey, Gary, what's up? I still have not filed for going to Vietnam. I'm still going back and forth, but I want to see if Carolyn will go with me, so we're going to see. But they said it's a little too early to file, so I figured I'll file in October with Vietnam to get the visa. You want to go down? Okay, come on. There you go. Stay there. Lie down. Mommy will come and get you in a minute. Anyway, it was a beautiful day today. How did you like your 4th of July, Gary? I had a great day today. Met with friends. Got to the bank. Got some money. That's always a good day when you get money. And went to Ground Zero and had some coffee, which was cool. And let's see. Got hit by a car on my bike, but actually they just barely grazed me. A couple scratches by an SUV. It just did not stop in time. It kind of rolled into my lane. So I didn't get hurt. I didn't fall or anything. So that was cool. Let's see. We got, it's my 3 years, Barth. Yes. In fact, let me, I'm going to try something. I'm going to take this and detach it from this. I want to see how this pop-out chat works. Let me pop this out. And let me move it over. And I'm going to make it a little bigger so it's easier to read. So there we go. So what it is, if you're here for 3 years, you have to leave the country. So I decided to go to Vietnam. And that was the reason. Yeah, Andrew asked, what is the draw to go to Vietnam? The draw is I have to go someplace. I have to leave for at least 24 hours. So that's the draw. And I've been to Thailand and can't never think of the name of it. There's another country over there, but I didn't like a lot of the other countries. Everybody always talks about Vietnam. I'd like to check it out. I'll spend a week there. I only have to actually touch the ground and then come back. You really only have to be gone for 1 day, not even 24 hours, just a date day. But if that's the draw, if I'm going to go someplace, I might as well go there. Einstein wants to get out. Okay, let me have Mom get him out. His door's closed, so I'll tell her to get Einstein. Hold on a second, guys. We're still warming up here anyway. Let me get her. Let me call her. Anyway, it's ringing. She'll probably know it's me telling her to get the dog out. What else we got? We got. Okay. Well, I went to Ground Zero. See, hi Golf. Not telling. I don't know what is the first name. Not telling. You're a good member though. You got a crown, so you're a top fan. Then we have Malaysia. Also is nice. Yeah, yeah, Malaysia's nice. It's a lot more expensive though. So, um, yeah, you can go ahead and take him. He wants out. Yeah. All right. That's the end of Einstein. If you didn't hear for the first 2 minutes, that was it. He's mommy's dog, so that's the way it goes. Uh, anyway, let's see. What do we got? We have to. I have to see if there's more. There's more things. Okay, I'm not at the bottom. Hello, Billy. Good. Da Nang. Yeah, I heard Da Nang's very nice. Billy says, go to Da Nang in Vietnam. Um, I'm going to go to Ho Chi Minh because the flight to Ho Chi Minh is a lot cheaper. It's actually a dual flight to go to Da Nang. So I'm going to go into Ho Chi Minh City in January of next year to meet my visa requirements. And then I'm going to take a train to Da Nang. And that'd be kind of cool. And it's also very, yeah, Billy says it's very inexpensive. Beautiful beaches. They have resorts in Da Nang. So great food, very inexpensive. Yeah, I know. I can't wait to go. Another day in the Philippines. My audio is cutting in and out, really? Oh. Not from what I'm hearing. I don't know why that would be. Um, I'll have to see if anybody else says that. Um, I can't tell you. We'll email. Oh, okay, for the name. Okay, no problem. Not telling. He's still not telling me. He's not telling me. How are you? How are the surrounding countries? Malaysia, Laos. I haven't been to Laos or Indonesia. Um, you really just have to go out of the country. It doesn't matter what country you go to. You just have to go out of the country for once every 3 years. Can't hear everything you're saying. Okay. Um, Not sure why. I'll bring the mic closer and see if that helps a little, but let me look on OBS if we're having a problem here. It sounds like it's coming through. It's showing me on the graphs that the sound's working fine, so I don't know. It sounds cutting in and out, really. It shouldn't be. I'll drop it one. All right. And then not telling things audio is perfect. So, um, only paid subscribers get clear audio. That's the way it works here. That's right. You got to be a paid subscriber. You got to hit the like button, and you have to become a member. Andrew says it's good on his end. I don't know how to say that. Island and Nan Trang, which is closer to Ho Chi Minh than Da Nang. Is Nan Trang have resorts and does it have beaches? As I want to go to a resort with beaches. I really do. Yeah, audio is a big thing, and I'm not an audio tech, and there's a lot going on with audio. Never have a problem with the video. The lighting I've got down, the video I got down, but the sound always seems to have some kind of a problem. Perfect audio. Okay, well, no, it just kind of depends on you guys. I don't know. Sometimes it has to do with what you're listening on and whether you're on data or you're on Wi-Fi or whether you're on a cell phone or a laptop. So, hello from Napa. Where is Napa? Napa Valley, California. Napa. Not sure where Napa is. There's many Napas. There's Napas in every country actually. So maybe Napa here. Hello, Raymond. So yeah, I'm gonna go to Vietnam. That's my choice. I actually have a couple other expats that might join me. If Carolyn doesn't go, Carolyn's my fiance. If Carolyn doesn't go with me, and she always cancels out the last minute, I have a couple other expats that want to see at Vietnam. It'd be kind of fun to go with the guys to go to Vietnam and kind of get away, get a break. I hate to say it, but yeah. But anyway, so everything was good here except for the motor scooter that hit me, but she didn't cause enough damage. She just some light scratches, and she was such a cute girl in the car. She was this little cute little thing driving this big SUV, and she was so apologetic and so sorry, so sweet. I just said, never mind, go on. So I figured, forget it. I get it. Whenever you get married, you get a ballot beyond free visa 1 year whenever you enter the Philippines with spouse. But I'm not actually married. I call Carolyn my wife, but we're engaged. But I'm not legally married to Carolyn, Gary. So I can't get a ballot beyond visa free. Can't get that. So maybe in the future, but right now, no plans on that. I have a Pacific Cross plan, yes, and your deductible. There's no deductible. So on the Pacific Cross plan, I've had it for 3 years. They raised me this year because I hit 69 in June. It's in pesos, so it was about 900 USD, 48,000 pesos last year, and this year they raised me to 58,000 pesos, which you have to expect, which is a little over 1,000, about 1,050. And the plan is called the 1 million peso Filipino plan. You can increase that up to 5 million pesos. I just do the 1 million and no deductible. And you can get a 25% discount. I think if you have a deductible. I don't remember how much the percentage deductible is, but I think if you have a 10 or 15% deductible, you get a 25% deduction on the premium. I just do no deductible. I don't want to be hit with anything. And they cover 100% for me, and they were very good last year. I had 3 or 4 claims, at least 3 major ones and 1 minor one, and they covered it all. So if your girl goes, this is from Andrew, if your girl goes who takes care of the motorcycle rentals, do you close down the shop? Well, typically, I only have 2 bikes here out of 18 right now. So there's 16 rentals out there, and typically there's anywhere from 10 to 18 out. So I'd have to have somebody else. I have a caretaker here that would have to take care of that. I could contact them and tell them to pay her, and she could put the cash away. But no, that you can't just bring all the bikes back because people come year round, and some of them rent the bikes for several months, and some of the expats and foreigners come here and they rent for a week. So it could be a slight problem. Haven't solved that problem yet, but yeah, that would be a problem because she does take care of the paperwork. Carolyn's really good about paperwork, and the caretaker I have at the house doesn't necessarily read or write English, and she doesn't know the business. So I'm not sure what to do about that. Most everybody will be really good. I trust these guys. I'll tell the guys, hey, if you're out of town, just pay me next week. Don't worry about it. Usually what they'll do is if I'm out of town, they'll either hold the money and come back they'll come and make their payments when they owe it, or I just don't know what to do about guys that want to rent new bikes and I don't have their information. But the guys that already rent for me, I don't have a problem from foreigners. That's why I like renting to foreigners. They take care of the bikes, so I don't know. Simon says, yeah, they both have resorts, including high-end ones. So I don't have no idea how to say the word. Phu Quoc also has the world's longest aerial tramway. So there's something I'm going to have to remember that. You know what? I'm going to take a picture of this so I know the names, Simon, because I'm going to look them up. I'm going to actually snap a picture. Okay, I got it. And I'm going to look those up. I have time to plan. I haven't booked anything yet, so there's plenty of time to figure it out. I kind of decided I made a mistake asking Carolyn. It was probably a mistake because I need a break. I want to go with the guys. I want to go drinking. I'm not going to cheat on Carolyn, but I would look at girls. I mean, I look at girls now. I mean, they're cute. I'm still a guy, so I look at girls. But it would be nice just to take a break and a vacation. But it'd also be nice to have her with me because she does take care of a lot of things with me. But here, it's good because she speaks the language. She knows people. She knows how to get things done. And if I need certain medicines, she can speak to somebody, and they literally deliver medicines to your home here for like nothing. It's free. I've never tried that because I don't speak Visayan. She speaks like 4 languages. So here she's incredible here. She takes care of me all the time. She cooks. She cleans. She does laundry. She takes care of the dogs. We have 2 dogs. We have Einstein on the inside of the house, which you earlier, if you saw, is a Shih Tzu, and then we have a German Shepherd on the outside that watches the bikes and the property, which is Rocky. Rocky watches the outside area, and she gives them baths every week. She feeds them every day. So I don't know what I'd do without her, to be honest with you. So Anyway, what else is happening? I did a live with Paul. Finally, I got Paul and I to have our mics working and without echoes. So that was good. And I think I've even found another improvement. So I've ordered another mic, believe it or not, from Amazon's, but it's not going to get here till the 17th of July, which is really good for Paul because Paul tends to move around and mics are directional. And Paul tends to look here, look there, move over here. And you can see if I do this and I'm going at that and I go over here and I'm facing this way, you'll lose my sound, okay? So I found a mic that I could put on a tripod on the table and he can move all he wants and it still picks up the sound. So, and I'm going to get a second one. So I'm going to put two on the table to get him no matter where he moves to. Ever been to Boracay? No. Vatico, I have not traveled much. Hello, David. I have to go back. I missed a few. David, morning from Edmonton, Alberta. Early. You're up early, Friday morning. Yeah. Does Mike say that too, Andrew? Take a break. Sometimes you need a break. I mean, I love Carolyn with all my heart, but yeah. Sometimes you need a break. You know how it is. Let's see. You and Paul live from Ho Chi Minh. Live live from... Oh, Paul's not going, though. Yeah, we won't be able to do the live with Paul because he doesn't know how to set this up. I'm only going to go for about a week, so it's not going to be that long. And the bike business, well, if Carolyn stays, she could take care of everything herself. If Carolyn goes with me, I'll just tell everybody, hey, we'll be gone for a week, and we can't rent any bikes out during that week, but if anybody wants to return a bike, they can. Just work things out, via text or a messenger or Zoom or something like that. Yes, Raymond, I would love to do an interview with Carolyn. I'd love to bring her in here. She's shy. She's never in the mood for it. Now, one day, maybe I could slip her a Mickey and get her to agree to come over on the other side. I love to have her here because she's smart. She's a really smart girl. She's sweet, and she's good looking. I do have a couple ladies coming in, single ladies coming in next week. We missed them last week. One got too shy and chickened out, and then she got talked into it. Now she's really scheduling to come back again. We'll see if she chickens out again. And the other girl took a bus and fell asleep on the bus, and the bus took her right into Dumaguete and right out of Dumaguete and south, and she missed getting off the bus. I don't know what the heck that is about, but she says she works all the time, and she fell asleep, and the driver didn't wake her up. And she missed getting off the bus when she got here, and the bus picked up people and just kept on going. So I don't know if it was a bus or a van, but whatever transportation was, she fell asleep. And that's the way I missed two interviews. But I have several people lined up for interviews, and everybody has a different story. It's kind of interesting. It can't always be just single girls because it's got to be a little bit of everybody. I have some guys that want to come here that's been here for several years, and I have a couple guys who want to come here that's just been here for a week, or they're just coming down here after being up north in other cities like Davao, Angeles City, Iloilo, and now they're coming through here, and they said they want to be on. Some of them, actually, a couple of them are also YouTubers, but they're just starting out. They're not. They have under 1,000. Both of them have. I think one's under 500 followers, so they're still working on it. Okay, so let's see. Alexander Sims, yo. You just came over from Scotty Boys Live. Oh, catching up from the start. Okay, no problem. Enjoy. We only just got started. And Scotty Boy I wanted to have on here too one day. He was in Dumaguete. He may still be, but he was too busy to come on. But one day he'll get in here, and I'll get to see him in person. But he does come through Dumaguete. He moves all around. Now, it's going to be a problem with some of which brings up something, which was the guy that is ruining it for everybody on vlogging out in the open, the Russian guy. His name skips me at the moment, but I've talked about him before. The Russian guy who was a prankster and caused some problems here, videotaping some crazy things here, and they're making new rules. So now I have to have people sign a release before I have them come on. I don't do vlogging outside of the studio, okay, unless it's around my home to show my house. But I don't typically do outdoor videos with anybody. But the new rules is if there's anybody else in your video, you have to block you can't have any children whatsoever in your video, and you can't pick up on their conversations, and you can't put them up on YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever it is, or any of the other social medias. You have to get their permission first. And otherwise, there's a $50,000 fine that they can sue you for, the person that's on there. And it's not a question of them telling you to take it down after they see it. If you put it up and they see it, they can sue you. So it's a big liability there. Now, will that law pass? It's proposed, and it was created actually several years ago, but not enforced. It was created in 2012, but it was not fully enforced. And now they've augmented it and made it even stricter, and it's supposed to go into effect August 10th of this year. And you could be sued by anybody. Even Filipinos, citizens that vlog have to get permission and can't have other people or in their video without blurring them, and cannot have any children whatsoever. It's getting tougher. And that's why I said with Scotty, he does that. He vlogs out in the open, and that's going to create a lot of problem for a lot of vloggers that travel around. Now, they serve a purpose. Vloggers serve a purpose. You won't get as much travelers, okay? Tourists are not going to come here if they don't see what they're coming to. How are they going to know one city from another? How are they going to learn about anything? The food, the restaurants, the hospitals, the way they travel here, unless they watch the videos. And that's how I learned, and that's how everybody else that came here learned, is by watching their vlogs, So vloggers serve a purpose, and they create an income for the Philippines. So if you put strong restrictions on vloggers, which includes in some cases proposing them to pay get a license, 2 different licenses they have to get, and pay a tax on their income, that's going to kill it. That's going to kill the Philippines. So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to follow through with that or not. That just sounds a little crazy. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, other than that, what else we got going on? Let's see. I don't know if that happens with news channels. I think news channels have. I'm going to guess that mainstream media is not going to be part of the. They were specifically talking about social media, and they called them digital creators. So it's not digital nomads, mind you. It's digital creators that derive an income. Now, if you're recording for your own family trip, vacation memories, and you're not gaining money out of it, there was no problem. Okay, but it was targeted to the vloggers, specifically vloggers for that have monetized, and that's the way it was named. So it would not affect main news channels. Good morning, Gerald. How are you doing? So anyway, we'll see what happens with that. Let's see, and then that's kind of a little bit of concern. We'll see what happens with this guy that he created this whole problem. Now it's because of this one guy. One guy ruins it for everybody, and that's typically what happens with everything else. They make new laws because of one person doing something. And Philippines tends to overreact, and that's typical of the Philippines. They overreact, and then they calm down after a while. So maybe after a month it'll calm down, and they'll change the wording in or what they're planning on doing. Maybe they really should just focus on people that do pranks and or violent acts, which I'm sure they have already. I mean, that guy is in jail, and he's going to stay in jail for a long time that pulled that stuff off. And Russia doesn't want him back, and the United States doesn't want him back. So he's going to be in the prison here in the Philippines for a long time. And they're making him a scapegoat. So Vitali, I believe is his name. I finally came to me, Vitali. Other than that, we finally have gotten rid of some of the rain. It's been very nice weather here. Cooler days, not burning hot and not humid. So the last couple of days have been really nice, and the next few days should be very nice too, without all the rain, because we've had a lot of storms at night, and they come in. They really get some storms here. We're talking tropical weather. So I haven't seen weather like that since Costa Rica. And Costa Rica was crazy. It was buckets of water. I've never seen that much water come out of the sky, except for when I was in Costa Rica. That was crazy. You couldn't even run it across just a short brief without completely being soaked. It was that much water. It was like somebody was like a waterfall, but everywhere. It was crazy there. Let's see. And then, let's see. I finally got my card, my debit card from my bank in the U.S. That took 2.5 months and about $200 to get it here. That was a pain, and it's only because there was some unusual activity on my charge card, I think from either Shopee or Lazada, which is kind of like the Philippines version of Amazon. They have everything on there. You could order stuff. And there was some $1, but they didn't really charge it. They just were checking with $1. So my bank decided that was because it was Chinese companies, and that's what Shopee and Lazada is, that they were phishing or something to see if they can get more money or not. So they put a lock on my card without telling me, and they wouldn't unlock it. And I had to wait for them to give me a new card. And it took forever for them to send it to my son's house, and that took several phone calls from me. And I did not have a U.S. phone number, so that was expensive, because every time I calling them, they were charging me 30 pesos, which is about 50 cents a minute. And I had to call them, and I was spending anywhere from 15 minutes to 40 minutes on the phone. And I called them, I think, 5 or 6 times to get the card sent. Because I didn't have a U.S. phone number, they couldn't send me a PIN code to verify it was me. And I had to go on the app and tell them, give them an explanation. And you cannot tell people. You have to be careful when you're here, and that's in the ebook, that if you're living in another country, you don't want to tell your bank that you're living in Thailand or living in the Philippines, because they have the right to close your account. And they'll give you 20 days, get your money out. And then what are you going to do? Because if you're retired and your Social Security checks are going in there, and now you got a real problem, because now your Social Security checks are going to go where? They're going to get rejected. And if you're living month to month, that can be a real problem. And you don't want to ever tell a bank or anybody really anywhere other than family that you just say, I'm vacationing, I'm temporarily here, especially Social Security now. Social Security, if you're out of the country and you don't have checks going into your USA bank, and this is USA Social Security, of course, if it's going out of the country, they need to verify it's you, and you have to go into an office in some cases, because every year, once a year. So you got to be really careful about who you talk about to, and tell them. Never tell a bank that you've moved and you're not coming back. They'll close your account. They can do that. Wise, which is a money transfer company similar to Remitly or some of the other World Remit. There's a few others. Wise, if you tell Wise that you no longer live in the United States, they'll close your account. And they honestly are the cheapest ones, the lowest fees for transferring money. So, and I lost them because I told them I was in Thailand and I didn't plan on coming back. That was the end of that. Let's go back. I missed a few. Okay, so, okay, hey, boss man, I got to get you on here. Boss man wants to come in. Whit has a channel too, but he got rained out from my friends. Show them the pic. Yeah, well, boss man rented a bike for me, and he has his own YouTube, and I'm going to get Whit over here. He's going to tell us how he likes Dumageddon and where he's traveled to. He rented I think he rented it was either a PCX or an NMAX for a week because we didn't have an ADV available. But now he's on an ADV, and he loves the ADV much better, which is a Honda ADV. They're both 160 inches, but the ADV is a heavier bike. Thailand got massive rains with lots of flooding. A lot of countries have. And thank you, Andrew. I see that you're also a top fan. Speaking of cooler versus TC, it says TC. Blizzard background for them super hot days. Who is them? So I'm not sure who TC is talking about, but we don't get blizzards in the Philippines. I guarantee you that. Chuck says Philippines digital nomad visa. Only one rule. You can't show anything videos. Okay, yeah. I know, it's ironic. Yeah, one rule for the digital nomad visa. Technically, the digital nomad visa, okay, is for people that drive an income using their laptops. It isn't actually made for digital videos or vloggers. The digital nomad visa is for people that drive income from out of the country, does sales on their laptop, or does trading on their laptop. The rule actually covers vloggers, specifically vloggers that are videotaping in the Philippines with an income, for an income. They have to be monetized. So, let's see what I used my Wise card on Lazada several times. I had to log into Wise to approve the purchase. Yeah, you better watch that, because if they see you're living here or staying here a long time, they'll. I don't recommend using your Wise card at all on Lazada or any other card on Lazada. I've had problems with Lazada and Shopee with cards. They'll deliver to you and cash on delivery, and that's the way I do it. Don't use cards, because I've had problems where someone takes the number at Lazada and at Shopee and at Temu and all the others, and they'll use your card and buy things. So, and all of a sudden, boom, you got a problem, because you have to go back to Wise or your bank and explain to them you're using it in another country, and they're not going to be happy about that, using Wise or a credit card or debit card on a Chinese company, and they'll just block your card, and then you got problems. So don't do that anymore. No more Wise on purchases, Wise card or any other card when you order on Lazada, Shopee, Temu, or any of the others. Hey, you caught a K. Glad you came. You caught a live. I am well, thank you, James. Here's my friend. Philippe is my he's my short person. He does all my shorts, and he's saying hello. I just saw the new short, haven't been delivered. I just resent it. He's telling me now I must have had some network issues. Sorry. No problem, Philippe. Philippe's the nicest guy in the world. And actually, several vloggers have used Philippe. We've all kind of traded on him. He takes our videos and makes shorts for us for a nominal fee, and we do bundles of by the 30 or more per month. And it takes a lot of time. He's very fast at it, and he's very good at it. And I've done some of my own shorts. I did some shorts, like about a dozen of them. It takes forever. I mean, and it's not for free either. I had to pay money to do the shorts. And so Philippe's a bargain. Philippe's really good at it too. He speeds up the voice, and you have a person above, like I will be above and my guests will be below, and he picks up on the words, so there's no spaces, and then he puts it in printing so you can see the words, and he edits it and he does it all. He's great. Yeah, no problem, Wit. Yeah, don't be using your cards on Lazada. That was, yeah, they may can you. That's you should never do that. So anyway, so if you see any shorts that have they're part of my videos, what I do is he sends me the short, I load it, and then I put in the information description on it, and make it public. I can make it for private. I can make it for public. There was one he made for me once, which was kind of funny. It had some. It talked about drugs in it. One of my guests had talked about drugs, and he made it. It sounded funny. It sounded great, but I didn't want to put a short out that talked about drugs in the Philippines because Philippines are very concerned about drugs and making jokes about it, or anything having to do with children, of course, and anything sexual. So you have to be very careful what you do. None of mine have any of that in there. Cussing, cursing, they don't like any of that. He is Philippe's the greatest. He is the greatest. Anybody who wants to do shorts, contact me, and I'll turn you on to him. I'm not sure how much more you could take on because he seems really busy, but he's the nicest guy. Philippe's awesome. Philippe, what country are you from again? Because we've chatted on WhatsApp and we've done some video Zoom, I think. I'm not sure how I saw him because I do see him every once in a while when we chat. But I can't remember what country he's from right now. Philippe, what country are you from? Just go ahead and hit me up. But he speaks perfect English. He's not in the Philippines. He's in not sure what country. He'll tell me in a minute. So starting to get the hang of doing lives. It helps when people have questions about what's in the ebook, what they have questions about coming over here. The questions are he's from Siberia. Okay. Eastern Europe. Yeah, Siberia. Honestly, I don't know where that is. Now I feel embarrassed because I feel like I should know better, but I don't know geography very well. So now I'm going to look at my world globe, Philippe, I swear, after this, and I'm going to find your country in Eastern Europe. 6 hours behind the Philippines, yeah. He sends me over stuff at night. I'm already in bed. So in the morning, I'll post it, which is fine because when I'm asleep, you guys are awake, for the U.S. Yeah, the good app to use to transfer money and save is Wave. Is that the name of it, Wave? Jason? I guess so. I'll have to check that out. I've been using Remitly, and I've had no problem with them, but they're not cheap. They're usually giving me 1.5 pesos. They don't charge me a fee anymore. They used to charge $1.99, and they dropped their fees for some reason, but they're about 1.5 pesos shorter than the exchange rate. So if I transfer over, $1,000, and you lose 1.5 per dollar, that starts to add up. Now I'm losing 1,500 pesos, and 1,500 pesos is about $30. So just about $28 or so. So they're not cheap because they don't give you a high rate of exchange, where Wise is only 1 peso or half a peso off from the current rate. But I can't use Wise anymore. They dropped me. That's in Russia. Oh, okay. There is no Siberia. Well, that's why I can't find it on the map. So it's in Russia. So I'll have to find it in Russia. Thanks, Philippe. I feel like it's a total idiot now. Nikola Tesla, oh my God, are some well-known Serbians. Oh, okay. I didn't realize. Okay, those names are, Nikola. I don't know how to say that though. But yeah, okay. So Serbia is in Russia. Oh, for those who knew that, I apologize. I'm not geographically knowledgeable. Ask me about diamonds. I can tell you anything you want to know about gemology. Graduate gemologist, okay? Ask me anything about precious metals. I owned a refinery for 40 years, a little over 42 years. I did every kind of refining you know. I know every kind of gem you know. But ask me about the world, I'm an idiot, okay? We can't be good at everything. Siberia is Balkan nation. Croatia is close by, as in Greece and Turkey. I need to take a picture of this so I can look this up. I'm not kidding. I need to look this up. I feel like an idiot. I'm going to learn something new tonight. All right, I got a picture. I'll look this all up. Okay, so he's by Romania and Kosovo. Okay. Well, see, I knew people would know. No worries. Thanks, Philippe. So yeah, there's things I know, but I don't know everything. I had jewelry stores for years. I went to school for gemology from Gemological Institute of America, and was top of my class, to be honest. And that sounds like something that Biden would have said. No, really, I was top of my class. I was really good. I really loved gems, diamonds. I did diamond cutting, diamond grading, diamond appraising. Um, Never been to Israel, which is interesting, but I sent diamonds over there to be recut. Uh, and then Siberia, not Serbia, Siberia. Oh, okay. Uh, no, Serbia. Okay, wait a minute. Sorry, Kosovo is in Serbia, and then another person says Siberia. Oh, no, it is Serbia, not Siberia. Okay, well, I wouldn't know. And Philippe is Filip, and he is not Filipino. All the way back up here, that's what we're talking about. He's out there, dude. I don't know. I have been in amethyst mines in Mexico, and I did go into mines in Arizona, and California actually has some amethyst mines and gemstone mines. Quartz is very common in actually all land across the world. Amethyst is quartz. Typically, it's sometimes heated to bring out the purplish color, but it's a simple quartz. And amethyst is found all over. So there's a very large amethyst mine in Mexico that I visited and spent time with. Um, yeah, I'm really good with math. It's true. I'm good with numbers. We cannot be good at everything. That's true. How are lab diamonds made? Well, lab diamonds were made by GE. Was the first one that made lab diamonds in the 1950s, pretty long time ago. And it's under 5,000 pounds per centimeter or millimeter. Well, it's 5,000 pounds pressure and tremendous amount of heat. So pressure and heat, and they just use basically carbon, pure carbon. Pencil lead, pure carbon. That's what a diamond is. It's just carbon under tremendous heat and pressure. Now what they're doing is instead of forming them under heat and pressure, they're forming them in a lab, and they use an actual diamond as the seed, and then under a vacuum purpose and with it's a little bit more technical now in a certain atmosphere of no oxygen, they grow them slowly. They actually are cheaper. The thing is, because they're lab grown, they have to mark them as lab grown. So right on the edge, which is called the girdle, they'll put in there a number and the manufacturer who manufactured. That's how you know they're lab grown, because they don't have inclusions typical of natural diamonds. Now, do they have the same chemical and physical attributes to a natural diamond? So the light's reflected the same way. They're made out of the same material. They're chemically a diamond, but they're made in the lab. And they're able to do them now a lot cheaper than mining diamonds, because we're running out of diamonds, natural diamonds. They're mining mostly in South Africa and Russia. And they keep going deeper and deeper for diamonds, and it's a lot of work. They have to move many tons of dirt to get a rough stone, and then they have to polish it and cut it, cleave it, things like that. And you only get to use a portion of it, and to get a really clean one is very difficult. So a natural diamond without flaws, which they consider flawless, is very, very difficult to find anymore. And so the flawless ones have gone up quite a bit. But they're actually not flawless 100%. A flawless diamond is considered flawless if you cannot see any of the internal flaws or external flaws with a 10 power binocular scope. Okay? However, you zoom up to 40 or 50 power or 100 power, you will see a flaw. Not so much in a synthetic. So so synthetics actually will shine nicer than a natural diamond because they're all perfect as long as they cut them properly. They could do damage on the outside. They could change the facets at a different angle. There's a specific It's called Tuwalski's cut, which is a round diamond, and they could and it's certain percentages that each facet has to be at in order to take the light in through the table, reflect it off the pavilion, which is the bottom, bounce it back across to the sides, and then come back out through the table. Okay, and if there's flaws, it stops that light. If the angles are wrong, it stops light. It leaks through like a window. So to get most of the light to reflect back out the top, you have to adhere to perfect proportions. And even on a diamond that's synthetically grown, it's still a crystal, and somebody still has to cut it. So if they don't follow those exact percentages, there'll be light leakage. Like light leakage. That's more than you need to know, Gary. Okay, see you, Philip. He's got work to do. Appreciate it. Okay, Goldfinger, you got any warmer background of tropical paradise? Well, I spent time in tropics, but I don't know what you mean by a warmer background. Oh, you mean my green screen tropical? Oh yeah, I could change anything I want. Right now I decided to do stormy weather, and I like pine trees. So, hello from Oklahoma, Bullard, the Okie. Hello, Okie. Diamonds are a face as far as costs are a farce. Well, yeah, diamonds are a farce. Well, diamonds it's a created market. They are not rare, but De Beers made one hell of a marketing campaign to increase prices. Many other gems, stones are much rarer. Well, this is very true, and there's supposedly a large quantity of diamonds held by the De Beers Corporation, and De Beers owns about 85-90% of all diamonds. There are some Russian mines that De Beers does not own. Oh, happy 4th of July. That's true. I forgot all about that. It's up there. It's pinned to the top. It's our 249th year for the USA. So happy 4th, everybody. But getting back to beers, they don't allow those anymore. It's what do they call that when they're the only game in town, and they decide the prices, and other countries, depending on their incomes, the prices for the same diamond is different for other countries than, say, the USA. So every country has a different price structure, and they decide on a parcel how many diamonds you can get and what grades, and they choose. They don't give you all. You can't just say I want all perfect diamonds. You can't do that. So you get a very large lot of diamonds, and only a few people that can buy from De Beers, and then it's broken down to further. But what they have to do is they have to separate them based on color, clarity, things like that. They buy the rough. See, now De Beers doesn't cut diamonds. Diamond cutters go there and buy large parcels, which is it's been a long time, guys. I forgot what they named the parcel, but it's a. Oh, really? Oh, Wave. I'm going to have to check out Wave. Okay, I'm going to put that down. Yeah, it's Monopoly. Thank you, Don. That's the name. Yeah, De Beers is a monopoly. They don't allow that. Interesting. They don't allow that in the States, but they allow De Beers to operate. But De Beers did pay some huge fines back in the day. Huge, multi-million-dollar fines for being a monopoly. I'm going to write down this. I want to look this Wave up. So I'm going to put down on my notes Wave money transfer. I'll look that up later. All right, thanks. So we'll see. Maybe I'll switch over from Remitly. Monopolies are not allowed. That's supposed to be like to keep the prices down. But De Beers is a monopoly, and it's not in the USA. It's in Africa. That's how they get rid of it. And of course, then we get into the slave labor that they've used and procedures of forcing people to work in miserable underground tunnels of high temperature, high heat, and dangerous fumes and conditions. And that's when they started getting into black, what do they call that? My mind's just not working right now. And then they decided they ran out of white diamonds. They used to throw the black diamonds. They used to crush the black diamonds because they had a lot of carbon. They didn't get enough pressure to turn clear. They didn't have enough high pressure from thermo process of earthquakes and things like that. And they used to crush the black diamonds and use them as bort in cutting wheels. Then later, somebody says, well, you know what if we polish the black diamonds, we market those, and they're a lot cheaper, because black diamonds was trash. It was throwaway stuff. You buy them by the pound, not by the carat. And they made a whole nother commodity of black diamonds, and people were showing their black diamonds like they're really beautiful. They're the ugliest damn things I've ever seen. So would you ever consider having a second house in the Philippines in North Luzon? No. God forbid. This house is enough. My place is a lot of maintenance. We're redoing. I don't own this. I rent. Now, with that said, we were having leaking in the dirty kitchen, and the back house is a dirty kitchen, a bedroom, and a bathroom, and we were having leaking because the neighbor decided to put up a wall right next to our wall 2 feet higher. So now the water doesn't run off into his property from our roof. If he had told us, I would have been happy to put up a gutter, okay? Or if he had told the landlord that owns this place, they would have to take a gutter and gutter the water off of his land. No, what he did is he put up a wall right next to our wall, cemented it 2 feet higher, so that all the water would just puddle and come down the sides inside of the whole wall, of that building. So now our dirty kitchens were flooding and causing electrical shorts and wood rot and stuff like that. I was like, what's going on? So I just made the landlord aware today, took videos, showed he's going to either have to take that wall down, or he's going to have to put in drains, or he's going to have to do something, because he's created a problem here, because we now have a lot of physical damage from the rains that we had because of what he's done. I don't know why the neighbor would do that. I can only think the only reason that the neighbor put up a wall that high, and we're talking like 12-foot high block wall. They don't have rules here like they do in the States. But he put in we have a 10-foot wall, is concrete wall. Everything here is concrete. We don't use wood, except for maybe trusses on roofs. And the whole back wall was about 9 feet, of the building. And then it sloped, and it drained onto the other property. And what he did is he just put a wall against ours, cemented right up to it, cemented solid cement, and so none of the water could drain, so all the water goes back into the building. It doesn't drain. It has a way of draining. So I don't know what they're going to do about that. That's a big problem. But no, I would never consider a second house. This place is enough work. Just curious, when cutting diamonds, what percentage gets destroyed by a wrong bad cut? Do they shatter into a million pieces? Okay, Andrew. They cleave. They don't shatter. They cleave. If you hit a diamond with a hammer, it breaks up into little pieces. So you make diamond dust by hitting a diamond on an anvil with a hammer. They may be the hardest thing on earth, but they're extremely brittle, and they don't do well on being smashed between a vise or a hammer hitting it. So you could drop a diamond on a concrete floor and chip it. They cleave and they fracture. So how much are destroyed? Depends on the cutter, how good a cutter is. And sometimes diamonds are not the shape that you see. They're dodecahedrals. They're 12-sided. They look like, I don't know, I'll show you with my hands. They look like a cone, two cones put together, two funnels put together. And so what they do is they decide where they should cut it, and it depends on the grain. Because sometimes they can see the stratus within it as how it's going to cleave. So cleaving is like taking a fine chisel and literally cleaving the stone in half. However, it depends on the grain, because they do have a grain. If you hit it wrong, on the wrong way of the grain, it'll fracture instead of cleave, so it won't be a clean cut. So on big stones, they take a very long time before they do anything, trust me. And then they use saws, diamond saws, to cut diamond. Only diamond saws will cut diamonds. So they use diamond dust and oil, and a very slow process of cutting diamond with the diamond saw. Happy 4th of July. Okay, it sounds like fajita meat used to get thrown away, and it became a thing. Now I pay almost $20 for a pound for uncooked fajita meat. Yeah, yeah, fajita was trash. Like menudo. Menudo was just the fat. You know, now they fry it and cook it. They use it supposedly if you're drunk to get to get sober. There's a lot of things they now use all they use all the parts of the animals. They grind it up, make hot dogs out of it, including bones. So good luck if you're not eating Hebrew nationals, you're eating the snout and the legs and all the other crap is in hot dogs. Yes, if you drop a diamond ring and it hits a concrete and it hits on the edge, it will either chip, fracture, or cleave. You can damage a diamond. Glass is got a hardness below quartz. It's going to be between 4 and 5, hardness 5. Diamond's 10. And each, like it's 5.1 to 5.9 and then a 6. Well, each 0.1 is 100 times. So a 5 to a 6 is 1,000 times harder. So to go from a 5 to a 10 is a hell of a lot harder. So it'll scratch glass because glass is considered soft. However, you can damage a diamond by doing that. Well, it depends on the house. This is a big house. I have a really big house, a very modern house, very American-made style house, and I redid it. I spent a lot of money redoing it. I'm actually redoing the roof. I asked the landlord to help kick in some money for it, and I might charge her. I'm going to take a guess it's going to cost me about $20,000 or $30,000 to redo it and put in drains because of this guy's wall next door. So I have 2 guys here now. I have 2 of Carolyn's brothers, which I will pay him, and another worker, putting in all new sheet metal and all new drains on the roof. And they're going to have to fix the wood underneath as well because it got some rot. And then they got to fix the electrical because it got wet. So I'm going to take a guess between 20 and 30,000 pesos. Don't ask me what that is. Divided by 55. And out of pocket. And I have a very good deal here, and I really like the landlord. So she might give me a break on the rent a little bit, but she's not going to pay 20 or 30,000 to fix it. It would be beyond her means right now. But I love this house, and I spent a lot of money on it, fixing it up. I did one video on it. By the way, I'm doing another video on it to give you more detail on the house. But I only rent. Let's see. Did any expats shoot off fireworks in the Philippines today? No. No, they don't sell fireworks here. Not in Duma. There's no fireworks stands. I guess you guys are having it all the fun. We used to get to see it on TV. Yeah, everything but the oink. Yeah, hot dogs are the worst. Just get Hebrew National. They're supposed to be 100% beef, and they don't use a whole lot of, they don't use any pig, pork, because they're Jews not supposed to eat pork. I'm a bad Jew. So anyway, that's a whole nother story. I'm very reformed. I'm deformed. I'm a deformed Jew. But I like pork. I like bacon. So what can I tell you? But yes, I am Jewish. And then no, they don't do fireworks here. It's not their anniversary for this country. They do have a lot of parades here and a lot of festivals and a lot of things they celebrate, but American festival is not one of them. And you can understand that. No, they don't sell fireworks here. So yeah, what else? So anyway, so my knowledge, guys, if you have any questions, is precious metals and gemstones. But you can't send me a picture and say, is this real? Is this a real ruby? Is this a real sapphire? It doesn't work that way. You have to use tools. I had a friend recently sent me some pictures of what could be quartz and it could be sapphire. I don't know. It's just a picture. I can't tell what it is. It doesn't know the dimensions. I can't look at it with a binocular scope. I can't test it with other tools that look within it and see, But if you have the right equipment, which I used to have, I don't have it here, you can actually find out from what country it came from and even down to what mine based on the flaws within it. because natural stones have flaws that are natural to the vicinity where they were mined and cut. So, whole nother world. What's more, diamonds by weight are more valuable, Gary. They go by the carat, which is 0.2 of a gram is a carat, 0.2. So, you know, and then gold's weighed by grams and ounces and pennyweights. If you want to break it down, there's denarius weight and there's troy weight. So there's different ways to weigh gold, but a pound of diamonds is worth a lot more than a pound of pure gold. I can tell you that. Of course, it does depend on the quality of the diamonds. They do not celebrate American independence here. We celebrate independence from America. Well, yeah, that's true. We talked about that at Ground Zero. We you know, a lot of people think expats means you're expatriate, and I hate using that word expat because I'm not an expatriate. I'll always love my home country, and my home country is paying me right now money that it forced saved for me. Now, there's a lot of things that go on with Social Security that I don't like. The way they invested it, the way they used it, the way they lost it, the way they gained it, what they did with it. But at the same time, I mean, I grew up in my country, and it's just like my home. It'll always be my country, okay? I love the USA. I don't like politics. I don't like some of the things they've done. But that's true of every country you're from. So, so I'm not an expatriatic person. I'm not an expatriate. But I couldn't live in my country on a Social Security, even though my Social Security is very high because I was in the jewelry business. I paid a lot of money in, and so I get a lot of money monthly. Will I get it next year? I don't know. Will I get it till I die? Not sure. They may run out of money. However, I'm thankful for it, and I'm dependent upon it. So I can't imagine working at 69 years old right now because I can't be on my feet for more than a few hours. I mean, I wear out in a day. I can't imagine working like I did when I was 20, 30, or 40, or even 50 years old. So, and there are people here in the Philippines, and they work till the day they die. And even if you are 70 years old and you retire here and you paid money in, you're looking at 700 pesos a month. 700 pesos. Let that sink in. Okay? We're talking, I don't know, $15. They have to live on 700 pesos a month. That's nothing. Okay? It's not possible. Now, I cannot live in the USA on the dollars that they pay me, but here I'm fairly well off on my Social Security. And if you had a pension and let's say service or a government job, and you're living on a pension from the U.S. and you also get retirement, and if you're also working and making money, you're a king here. You literally can buy or sell anything you want. You can live very nicely here on a retirement age. Where if I was in the U.S., I'd be renting a room in an apartment and having to buy my own furniture and barely making it month to month, and I doubt I'd be able to own a car. Maybe. Okay? That's how bad it is, especially with the prices gone up for the last couple of years and not equal to what my income has from Social Security. So you cannot own, let's see. So no, they don't sell fireworks. Everything, see. So how cheap or expensive is the land in the Philippines? Well, that's the thing. Philippines is smart. Maybe America is not so smart. They're starting to wise up. They're stopping Chinese from buying American land. Some states are absolutely forcing the sale of Chinese ownership of property. In the Philippines, you have to be a Philippine citizen to own land, period. If you're not a Philippine citizen, you're not owning land. Now, if you're married to a Filipina, the Filipina can own the land here. But just because you're married to her doesn't mean that you own it. Okay? It's in her name, okay? She's a natural-born citizen, okay? And just because you're married to her doesn't mean you get half of a divorce. Doesn't work that way here. So technically, you cannot own land here. Now, there are some ways around it. You can own the building, that goes on the property. So if you build something, you could own the house that's on the land, but you don't own the land. And you may have to move it if she tells you to get the hell off. You can own a condo here. You don't own the land, you own the condo. And you could also do a lease back from your Filipina girlfriend or wife. So if you put the land in her name and you have a lawyer draw it all up, you could lease it back for 25, 50 years that you have the right to live there for whatever, $1 a month. Otherwise, you could have a corporation. You create a corporation or a lawyer owns the property, but that's very iffy because it's only good as the corporation or the lawyer. And if he's sneaky or looking to rip you off, they can here. Filipinos rule. When you're in the Philippines, Philippines rule. Filipino will win every time when it comes down, whether it's right or wrong. There's no common sense. It's not like the U.S., so don't even think about it like the U.S. So technically, no, you cannot own land here. Okay, so where were we? I'm sorry. How cheap or expensive is the land? So the land is cheap. The land is definitely cheaper, but you can't own it. Only a Filipina or Filipino can own it. Let's see. They don't celebrate America's independence. They celebrate. Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, AI is taking over everywhere in the world, so who knows what's real and what isn't. Okay, Dan Lund. I'm 32. Do you honestly think Social Security will be around when I'm eligible? I'm skeptical. I would be very skeptical too. Skeptical. I would be very skeptical too. I'm sorry. Actually, income tax was proven to be not a thing 150 years ago. When the country was born and when they created the independence, the Constitution, and things like that, there was no income tax, there was no Social Security. People did not have Social Security numbers. In fact, when I was born, people did not have Social Security numbers 70 years ago. Okay? I had to get one when I was 8 years old. That's when it came out just a couple years before that, and they decided that everybody has to get it. So, and then they kind of controlled us like pawns. And when I say they, the ones that have the money, the people who have the money and have the power, we work for them in the U.S. And they decided what they're going to do. And they've taken money from veterans. They promised all kinds of things. They didn't do it. So they taxed the tobacco companies. If tobacco came out today, you think it would be allowed or legalized? Hell no. Tobacco's a drug. So what did they do? Since tobacco was already around and they had a lot of power and money, they just tax it. And they allow a drug to operate with taxes. So what does a real pack of cigarettes cost anymore in the U.S.? I mean, here they're a couple bucks. I'm sure they're $8 to $10 a pack. When I was a kid, they were $8 a carton. I used to pick up from my dad on my bicycle at the local gas station. $6 to $8 a carton for 20. Still the same, 20 in a pack, and I think it was 10 or 12 in a carton. So look at how much they're making now on taxes. They tax the hell out of you. So will there be money, Dan? Doubt it. Alexander, I'm 39. Social Security will be higher. What they're doing already is they're raising the age, which helps keep funds in Social Security. They're raising the age. If Doge is real, and I'm not going to get into politics, but if Doge is real and they found falsehoods and found money in Social Security waste, that might help it last a little longer too. I know some people were getting money that didn't deserve it out of Social Security, quite a bit of money, and people were more than 120 years old that was getting Social Security, and there's not that many people 120 years old in the U.S. So hopefully that helps extend it. But I know they're going to raise the age, and they've been doing that now because when I was a kid, 55 was retirement, and then it went to 60, 62, 65, and then based on my birth date, it was 66 and a half. And I can tell you right now, it's going to go to 70. So, um, so yeah, the way around it is to self create a retirement income. So Alexander invests 1,000 a month into market. I'm going to ensure I have a financial future regardless of security. Exactly. You can create your own uh, uh, livelihood for your future when you're retired. You can put it in tax-free ways. You're going to have to learn finance. Everybody has to learn finance now. They have to learn about the KEO, the IRA, find out which one's better. Look at your company. If your company has a share program, you put up $1, they put up $1 in their stock options. You're going to have to self-insure for your future. Uh, Thank you. Likes Super Mario likes my picture in the background. It is different. It's very colorful. Let's see. You gave a great answer. Okay. But didn't answer my question. Okay, so who generally owns it? So here's the other problem here. Okay, so there's no title insurance here, and they never did have title. So people owned property for a long time here and transferred from family to family, but there was no property markers. There's no property lines. And then over the centuries, people have assumed property, but they don't have a legal title to it. So property is sold here sometimes, and you legally find out later that they didn't have the right to sell it to you. So the answer is prices are all over. So in the province, it can be very cheap. And it doesn't go by acre here. It goes by hectare. So it's a different measurement, okay? And the prices range anywhere from a couple hundred to a couple thousand to several thousand pesos per hectare. I can't answer it. I'm not an expert on real estate. I did have a real estate, 3 real estate agents in here. We did an interview with them. But property is very affordable. What is affordable? You could buy property here without improvements for as little as $5,000-$10,000 out in the boonies. Now, hopefully you're near water or you have a water reservoir underneath me, but you won't have power. And it's not just a question of going to the local power company and asking them to bring in power. And there's well drillers are typically dug by hand. They don't have, there's not too many well drillers that actually have drilling rigs here. So it's a lot different here. And I can't give you prices, but who owns it? That's the problem. So finding out exactly who owns it isn't always that easy because there's nobody that actually will title insure it to guarantee that you are the owner. Because sometimes over a period of time, the property lines have varied based on a tree that was planted or a house that used to be there, or this guy says, well, I've owned it since from that brook to that brook. No, probably not. He just maybe over the years he keeps growing the land, it keeps growing for him, and he's increased the size of what he owns, and there's no fences or markers. So there's no surveyors that can actually. Now in the city it's a little more controlled, but it's a lot more money. But again, there is no title insurance. So you could buy a piece of property and find out that you don't own it. And you can get contested after you've paid for it. So I don't know how to answer. I can't really answer the question. The answer is don't even think about it. Cigarettes are $15 a pack in Minneapolis. Holy camole. When I left the U.S., they used to have cigarette machines. They were like $5 to $8 a pack. I remember. $5 to $8 a pack. That's 15. That's crazy. 15 to 18 for Marlboro in upstate New York. Yeah, I mean, you could buy 2 cartons for that when I was a kid. Fireworks are sold on the boulevard south of Port near Dumaguete sign early December for New Year's. For their New Year's. For the Philippine New Year's, they do sell fireworks, yes. Not for the USA 4th of July. No. But for December, yes, they do sell fireworks here. Gary says, problem with Social Security is that it's funding more than just retirement. Originally, when it was only for retirement, it had more money. So politicians dipped into it, which they've dipped into everything. Okay? I don't believe there's gold in Fort Knox. I mean, we can go there and go on and on. But Fort Knox was built to hold the gold for all the countries, including the U.S. gold. Is there U.S. gold in there? I doubt it. That's why Nixon took us off the gold standard, to dip into the gold, to sell it off so it's not backed by the dollar. Why do you think other countries want their gold back from Fort Knox? I bet it's not there. There's going to be some real problems coming up with Fort Knox because other countries' gold is still stored there from Europe, Germany, many countries, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the U.S. has stolen their gold, which they're already afraid of. No more pensions. Now we self-fund those with 401ks. Yeah, thankfully my company matches 100% up to 5% of the pay, so that helps. But it's only as good as the company. So keep that in mind. It's only as good as that company. Hopefully this company doesn't file bankruptcy. Okay, because and it depends on what funds they put it in, because you're still dependent on them being viable when you retire. You could lease a property here. You could lease back a property here. Yes, you could lease a property here. Again, there's still title problems. There's no guarantee that that property that they're leasing to you is their property to lease to you. And you can find out 5 years down the road it's not their property to lease to you. Because there's no title insurance, there's no escrows. So they use lawyers here, and some lawyers are better than others. Some lawyers don't know what the hell they're doing. Happy 4th, Eric. When I was in the Air Force, says Gary Johnson, in 1974, you could buy a carton of cigarettes for $2.25 out of the commissary. Yeah, those were the days. Alexander Sims says thousands of pesos per hectare is insanely well priced for waterland. That's great news. Oh yeah, you can find them out there. There'll be lots of local trees, coconut and fruit trees possibly, and bamboo, and my mind's gone blank. Sorry, I can't think of the native trees here, but native trees here on the property. And usually if it's got a river, that's a good sign, because that's your water source is a river, which means there's a high water table typically. Sometimes they only run water in the winter in the river, but this doesn't mean anything. It probably has underground reservoir. It just runs, there's so much water it runs on the surface during the winter or rainy season. But yeah, you could buy property here very cheap. The problem is, do you really own it? Just because you have a piece of paper that says you own it doesn't mean you really own it. That's the real problem. Yeah, and the problem is people claim their ownership, and they claim they could sell a section off of a bigger property, and then it turns out that they didn't typically deed off separate sections. They didn't have it surveyed. There are surveyors, but sometimes they don't have anything to go on. You have the choice of what funds that you invest in. So the ones that are offered in a 401k, the money is put into your account during your pay period. Even if it goes out of business, it's funded. Yeah, there are funds that are separate from the company. That's true. That's good. Yeah, you don't want to fund in the same company you work at, because companies go broke. Yes, buying land is a mess in the Philippines. My only suggestion is don't go there, don't build. Rent, okay? Rent, lease. But there's mother titles, which means absolutely nothing. Mother told her that you own this property. That's what a mother title is. Mother says that I own this property, and she gave each child 1/4. Sometimes you find that whole families claim the property, and you have to have every family member sign off on it. Some you can't find. There's not always markers, because they don't know where to put the marker here, because there's never been surveyed. So Dan Lund says, it's not company stock options being offered, it's funds I get invested. Yeah, that's fine, Dan, you're fine. So as long as it's a private and you own the stock, but again, it's only as good as a fund. Okay, it's only good as a stock market. So if there's a crash, your fund's going to be affected. There's no perfect world, and there's nothing perfect because you could put it in gold or silver, and it doesn't gain interest. There's no compounding. So unless gold goes up and matches compounding interest, which typically it does not, and then what if you buy gold and silver? You don't want to buy it on paper because that's not a guarantee either. That's again another stock. So you have to buy it physically. Well, guess what? Physical silver is very large. It takes up a lot of room, and wherever you store it, it could be robbed because it's physical. So there's no guarantee on anything. We do the best we can and hope for the best and plan for the future, but it doesn't always work out that way. So besides that, there's another theory. So when you're 30 or 40, you want to invest and build. When you're 60, you're not looking to build anymore. You either built it or you're broke, okay? So at 60, you're not starting over, and at 60, you're not being an aggressive investor. So typically at 60 years old, you want a calmer life. You don't want to maintain a property or have rentals or have problems. So typically you're going to rent. You're not going to own unless you've already owned it for 30 years and you're still living in the same house and it's paid for. You're not going to own, okay? You're not going to be looking for more rental properties. Now, there are, of course, people that are in the 60s and they have kids and they're in their 40s and they have a business and their business is investing in rental properties, apartments, commercial property. That's a little different. But I'm talking about the single guy that worked his whole life on a job, made payments on a house, and that's his total bundle of available assets when he retires and reaches his 60s and 70s, and basically that's his nest egg. And he's not going to come over here to another country and start buying or building. It's not typical. It's not recommended, especially here in the Philippines. What you can do is what I did a little bit different. What I did is I found a really nice, beautiful piece of property. I saw potential. I knew I was going to spend a lot of money fixing this place up to get it to where I was comfortable living in it. So I needed to do a lot of improvements on plumbing, electrical, lighting, and everything else. There was no furniture here, and it was in bad shape. It needed painting, it needed repair work, which I'll go over on another video and go into it. But I spent 600,000 pesos fixing this rental property up. And the way I insured it is I got a 15-year lease. Now, can they break that lease? Yes. They always can. That's a problem you have to live with. Anything is possible, okay? But the landlord was really nice, really sweet, and she's a very nice person. And she's been very good. And she seems very earnest. And that's the risk you take. I take a risk. So it's been very wonderful. We've lived here for about 6 months now, maybe 7. And I'm very happy here. We're almost done with all the improvements except for the damage that happened from the rain from the neighbor. But other than that, everything's been fixed up here. I've put in a lot of money into the property, and the rent stays the same. And so my rent here is 35,000 pesos, or roughly just under $600, I think it is, US dollars a month. And the house is 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's massive. It's got high 11-foot ceilings. It's big living room, dining room, big kitchen. And then also has a separate house in the back, which has a dirty kitchen, a bedroom, and a bathroom as well. And then it has a garage out in front, and it's a huge piece of property. It was perfect for Carolyn to put her bikes out in front. And it had a grassy area, which got muddy, and it wasn't very nice grass. So I clearly tore that all out, moved plumbing down, covered it over with sand and plastic, and put in pavers. And I'll take the video again, but there's one in the back. You can watch it. And we painted everything and fixed things up and put in fans. And I added. She didn't have air conditioners, so I put in split air conditioners. So 1, 2, 3, 4 split air conditioners and a wall unit. So I love it. If I was forced to move, I'd take a lot of the improvements with me. But it is what it is. I've been here for 7 months. She's been very sweet, very nice. And I just got a good feel for her. She's fine. If I decide I don't want to be here, I can give her 30 days notice in the lease agreement. If she decides she doesn't want me to be here, we got a lawsuit. So, because I have a contract lease, reviewed by a lawyer, okay, and signed by all parties. So that's the thing. You just have to protect yourself. So let's see. Let's go. I'm sorry. I went on a tangent there. Let's see. Hello from the UK. This is British and Filipina. My wife is from Dumaguete, lives here with me in the UK. Both of our employees here pay 10% direct into a pension each month. We pay another 20% voluntarily. That's good, and that's something for the future. That's a good idea. Above it all, hypothetical, easier to avoid taxes on metals. There are states that have no taxes on metals, so you can move your precious metal and get an address in the U.S. on a state that has no taxes on metals. Either no taxes buying and no taxes selling. So there are several states. You can Google it and find out which states they are. Dan Ludd says, so true. Both my parents didn't build, and both of them are going to be completely dependent on Social Security. Thankfully, my dad bought a house that's appreciated, right, and hopefully has a lot of equity in it, okay? And then when he retires in the Philippines next year, he will sell his house in Lake Elsinore, which is a very nice area now, Lake Elsinore. Andrew says, is talking to Dan, I've done quite well with my 401, stock options, funds, many different rests involved, your choice. When I retire, I move my money into a managed account. Yeah. Gary says, how's the water where you live? Is it clear? Is there a sand in it? The water pressure. Okay. So where I live, Gary, it sucks. Okay. I don't know what else to tell you. There is no water pressure in the morning. So what I did, and they use these stupid little plastic irrigation pipes. This is the best way I could play it. They're soft rubber black pipe that they usually use for drip irrigation. That's how they get the water from the water company, okay? And they bring it from the street, and we're talking 200, 300 meters, okay? And that cars run over them, so every once in a while the line will break or it'll spring a leak all the time. Now, the pressure is no pressure in the morning and no pressure at night, okay? So what I did was I got 1,000-liter tank, stainless steel, and the water goes into that because there's plenty of water pressure in the middle of the night or in between after morning and before evening. Okay, there's plenty of pressure. When I say plenty, not that you're going to hose down a driveway, but plenty of water, okay? So it goes in the top of the tank. So, and it pulls off a little bit off the bottom, and then the bottom has a drain that you can open up, and the sand, it's conical on the bottom, so it comes to a cone, and then it taps off a little bit, not quite on the side, but right at the top where the size, it taps and goes to a pump, which pressurizes it for the house. So sand isn't going, if there is sand or dirt, it's settling in the cone, and then every few months you open up the bottom valve, let the trash go down, onto the cement below it, the sand or dirt or whatever, and then you shut it off and it'll refill. It's 1,000 liters. That's quite a bit. And then we have a pump, a 1 horsepower pump, and the pump pumps it to another tank that has a bladder that creates back pressure. So it's pumping against the bladder, and then when the pump shuts off because it's full, when it reaches a certain pressure, right now I have it set pretty low, about 45-pound pressure. You could raise it all the way up to 65, but I don't need it. So when it goes to about 45-pound pressure, it shuts off, and then the bladder maintains that pressure, and it'll turn on again when the pressure goes to around 15 pounds pressure. It's a pressure-controlled switch which turns the pump on and off. So it turns on at around 15 to 18 psi, turns off at 45 to 50 psi, and keeps the bladder keeps the pressure moving through the house. We have no water problems for the last 6 months. We didn't have it on the first month we have it here. We've been here 7 months. So on the last 6 months, water's been absolutely no problem. I can't say that for my neighbors, though. And it was an expensive investment. I would say that whole water system was 100,000 pesos. A couple $1,000. I don't know, what is that? Yeah, a couple $1,000. So it cost me $2,000 to create that whole thing, because with plumbers and tank and equipment and pump. And then we built a cabinet around it, which soundproofed it, because we put the same foam I have in my podcast room. We put the foam on the inside, all sides, and the floor to absorb any vibration or sound from the pump, so from the motor. So that works very well, and it's worked out very well for the last 6 months. Um, so that's the answer for Gary on water. Congrats, Andrew. So it's Scare the Investment Company. That's mostly between Dan and Andrew. Gary says, bet that was an expensive visa. I missed something then. Uh, I don't know what visa that was. Okay, sorry. I might have missed something. Uh, we're still talking about stocks here and returns. Mm. Are there capital gains on metals? Not metals that you hold. There are metal funds which can pay you capital. They don't pay you capital gains, but they might pay you dividends on some funds. But again, do not invest in precious metals with paper. Do not use paper to buy precious metals when all you get back is a stock paper, okay? Because now you just traded one fint money, okay? American dollars are not real; they're just fake. They're not supported by anything, and you're buying something that is supposed to be a solid form of value, but you're getting a piece of paper back. It's no guarantee. So if you're going to buy precious metals, buy the metal, okay? Do you know how to build this whole? Well, actually, Dan, on the whole thing, I've built 3 homes in my life myself in the States. I was fortunate enough to know quite a bit about building. So I know plumbing, I know electrical, I know heating. I know the electrical here is different voltage, but it's basically the same thing. And they don't ground their houses here. I added ground to this house. Was not able to gauge all the sockets, but able to get to the main panel with the ground, and then put in grounding breakers that will trip. So if someone gets shocked, you could die with 240 volts. 220 volts will kill you, especially in a bathroom. And they don't use trip outlets here that catch a ground. Especially, they don't do anything like, they don't have any rules here. Electrical outlets could be up in the ceiling. They're not always down on the floor. Sometimes in the middle of the wall, and they don't run ground wires. So the way I got around it was I changed the panel, put in trip breakers that sense a ground short, like a human ground short, and trips within a fraction of a second, so you will not get shocked. I did that because, again, it's not my house, but I did that because Carolyn is charging our e-carts with 220 outlets. And one of the cords caught fire once, okay? It was wet, it was raining, it was electrical short, it started sparking, the wire started heating up and melting from the sparks. The thing caught fire, and we were able to put it out, but we got shocked. Carolyn got shocked quite badly with 220 volts, and luckily the wire broke. We didn't have the electrical trip anything like that. We didn't have a ground fault. So when I cut off the end of the wire, and it was a 3-pronged cord, so it's supposed to have a ground and 2 hots. When I cut off the cord and put it on another thing, they had 3 insulated supposed wires in it. 2 were wires, and 1 was just a green plastic with no copper inside. I stripped further back thinking that maybe the wire got sucked back in or somehow. No, it was only 2 hots and another dummy, okay, with a prong for a ground, but there was no ground. I opened up the outlets. The outlets don't have any grounds. There's no ground wires. They typically will use grounded outlets in a home here, and they don't use grounds. So they don't have electrical codes up to par here. So the way I got around it is I drove, I had an electrician. I told him what I wanted. I went and bought the copper, about a 6-foot long copper-clad rod, drove it into earth, put a clamp on it with a heavy-duty green copper wire, took it, cut the concrete, put it underneath the concrete, put it up to the panel, and put in breakers that were ground fault. And so now she won't get shocked, or it won't be a problem anymore, either in the kitchen or bathroom. So how did I know to do all this stuff? Well, I've built several houses, so I know all that stuff. Let's see, where did I leave off? Did you know how to build the whole pressure? Okay, Goldfinger. That sounds like a typical water well system. How have the system at my place in Texas with a mine coming out of the ground and not from the city. Yeah, and they're getting away from that in a lot of cities like Los Angeles. I had a house in Los Angeles and we had a well, and we had the same setup, a pump that pressurizes a bladder and provides, and we had a tank of water. And then the city decided, Los Angeles decided that that's still our water, so you're going to tax you on how much water you use. And they put a meter on how much water we pull out of the ground and tax us on charge us a fee basically on how much water we're using from their groundwater. It doesn't happen in all states, but in all cities, but it did in Los Angeles. Ground fault circuit interrupter. Yep, that's what we used. So British 100 milliamp is the main switch prevention against fire. 30 milliamp on each circuit. I don't know all the terminology. I'm sorry. 50 milliamps will kill an elephant. I know. It doesn't take much. She really did get hurt, and her hand was numb for weeks when she got shocked. So I was pretty worried about that because we do have electric carts that we charge here, and you could die from 220 volts, okay? And it rains a lot, and we were charging e-carts outside when it rains. Okay, so Gary says, yes, about 700,000 pesos, including lawyers, flights, etc., for 2 years, 8 months. Then we will extend. I don't know what you guys have been talking about. Maybe you guys have been reading. I skipped a lot. Sorry. Well, that's true. This is true, Andrew. It isn't the voltage, just the amperage, and that's true. Because I've been zapped by I used to do, I was electronics major. I used to fix TVs, the old tube TVs. And I got zapped more than once with 30,000 volts or so, anywhere from 10 to 50,000 volts on a TV tube. That stung like crazy, but you didn't die because it was such little milliamps. Even though we had a cork floor in the electric shop, it didn't do any good. So yeah, it isn't so much the volts, it's the amps. That's true. But when you start dealing with 220 volts, it's a big difference in 120. You could touch 120 and it'll tickle with your fingers. You touch 220, it doesn't tickle. Yeah, no problem. British and Filipino, no problem. I realized you were talking about something else. Spousal visas, okay. So, what time is it now? 10 o'clock. I'm going to go for a little bit more. What is it, 8:30, 9:30? I'll go for another 20 minutes, guys, and then it's 2 hours my limit. I don't know why I'm still wearing these damn headphones. I don't need to hear myself because it's starting to hurt my ears. Excuse me while I put these down. So, anyway, so I came to the Philippines with a lot of knowledge about how construction goes because I've done a lot of I've put in copper plumbing, I've put in threading, I've threaded pipe, I've done electrical work, I did framing, I've framed a house more than once, I've used drywall, but the construction here typically is not so much wood. They use mostly concrete here and blocks, and you have to be careful here because there's blocks and then there's concrete blocks. Some blocks, they just did not use enough cement, and it literally just, if you drop it, it becomes dust on the ground. Literally, you can put your foot on it and break it, kick it, and the concrete blocks just break apart like dust. So you have to be very careful where you buy. You have to test the blocks before you buy a pallet of blocks here. Because they're junk, a lot of concrete junk. And then do they put steel rebar down the center and fill it with concrete? Not always. And I've known of several homes that have literally, when they went to the second floor and built the second floor, it collapsed down on the first floor because they didn't support it properly. So we're having problems with the computer. Okay, what's wrong? Losing power. Where are we at? What's my power at? It's fully charged. Okay. Let's see. Worked in power plants and around industrial equipment most of my career. Seen some bad stuff happen, I bet. Jack of all trades. Well, yeah. My dad was into that a lot. My dad had a machine shop, and he did a lot of woodworking, metalworking. So, back in the day, they used to have, in high school, all the shops. So we had wood shop, metal shop, plastic shop. We had a lot of shops, okay, a lot of things. You could learn drafting, typewriter. Unfortunately, they dropped all those trade shops, and now what they did was they went after high school. They created trade schools or colleges for trades. But you had auto shop, so you learned how to use auto repair equipment. You could rebuild an engine in high school. You could do tune-ups and repair flats and tires and even build a car. You could do welding. Okay, we had welding classes. So I was really into all those different things. So luckily my dad had a full tool shop at home, big garage with every tool, wood, metal, plastic, and he created a lot of things and he showed me how to use the tools. So I was pretty handy. The new airport is going to be in Bakong. So you have Dumaguete heading south, then Bakong, and then Darwin. And it's off of Diversion Highway, which is a really wide road that kind of cuts from Valencia down to Darwin and Bakong. So it's in Bakong. It's going to be 10 to 15 years before that thing is built. You can't find anything on location? Well, look at Bakong, look at Darwin, Diversion Road. And if you ever reach me, if you ever send me an email and ask me, I can send you a plot of where it's going to be. I know property around there is starting to already go up. Let's see. The only thing that offered in my high school was wood shop. Well, we had every shop, man. We had everything. Do they put insulation loose in the cement block for better insulation to keep house cool? No, they don't do insulation here at all. They don't know what insulation is. You can buy foam, but they don't use it for. They use it for signs. They don't use it for insulation. In high school, I took welding, metalworking, wood shop. Yeah, I did all those too, Andrew. Drafting, they had a lot of them. You were able to create. That's when it used to be made in America, and then they got to the point where nothing was made in America. Everything was made in China, and nobody knew what end of a screwdriver to use. They didn't know what a flat tip or, a Phillips. They call them a star screwdriver because they didn't know the proper name. They didn't realize that Phillips comes in different sizes. A Phillips 1, 2, 3, 4, and the same with screwdrivers. That's where. Back in the day, Craftsman tools and Proto tools were a mechanic's dream. I used to have all those tools. So you took up woodworking. That's cool, but started from zero. Yeah, and there's books on it. You have to be pretty good at practicing. I had lathes. I had metal lathes and wood lathes because my dad he had all that equipment. So it was easy for me to learn it. I used to do all the repairs at our house. I fixed sprinklers. Back then they were metal galvanized sprinklers. I fixed bikes. I fixed TVs. I was the neighborhood repair guy. I fixed everything. Replaced parts, fixed tires, flats, electrical, fixed the car electrical, changed fuses. We also had TV tubes. So I fixed radios and TVs when they had tubes. And then I knew how to use an oscilloscope and a multimeter. I used to fix it when they had IC electronic and got away from tools. So I was pretty handy. So that's a big benefit coming here, that I knew how things should be done. And if they're not done right, I look at the guy and go, you're not doing that right. That's not right. What you're doing right now is not right. I don't want you doing the job. Darwin is going to be our retirement location, away from the hustle and bustle. Yeah, Darwin's a very nice area, but it's already going up quite a bit. I'm going to call you British and Filipino. Okay. Jan Hammer. They fill the hollow block with concrete, so no real need for insulation. The problem are the roofs. Well, they're supposed to fill the hollow block with concrete and rebar. They don't always do that because you have builders that cut corners, same as tofu construction in China. So you got to be careful, because I have seen houses collapse from the weight of the second floor on the first floor. Yeah, screwdrivers come in different sizes, different types. I just asked for the big one or the small one. And then there's so much in tools. If I said I wanted needle nose pliers, my son would look at me and go, what the hell you're talking about? Or if I told him I wanted channel locks is a brand. Technically, it's not the name of a tool, but everybody knew what channel locks looks like. So, You can ship anything over here. The problem is if you claim it as being new, there's going to be a tax on it, a duties. So it's best, and if it's like already put together. So the way to ship things, it's very cheap to ship things over here by boat. It takes 3 months to get here. It's in a Balik Beyond box. It's around $100 to $120 a box. There's no weight limit. So it's cheap to ship tools over here, good tools. And you can buy now Craftsman's, I'm sure, and Proto Tools at pawn shops and at swap meets, very cheap. Because most people don't. They're old tools. They're from the back in the day tools. Okay, it's when I was a kid. Most people don't use those tools anymore, but they're really good tools and last forever. Craftsman's guaranteed for life. And anyway, you could ship woodworking tools here and benches and things like that. Just don't say it's brand new and take them out of the wrappers or out of the packaging. And you can wrap them. You can wrap the tools. Just say used tools. Don't. They'll ask you to manifest it. Don't say what it is specific. Don't include a receipt with it that shows that you purchased it new. Just take them out of the original packaging. They can be brand new. Wrap them in foam if they're like wood chisels or something that you're worried about getting scratched or damaged. Wrap them in foam. Put them in a box. The boxes are as big as a table. No limit on weight. You can put 2 boxes together if you want. They'll charge you for 2 boxes. About $120 a box. You buy, it's in the ebook, so there's companies that will do that. There's several companies that will ship here, and they ship all the time, and it's pretty cheap. You pay $20 for the box because it's very thick cardboard. You take it, you put it together, you tape it. I taped it and glued it, and I put thin 16th-inch plywood on the bottom and on the top to support it, or depending on what was inside. Like I shipped tools here. And I wrapped it really good. I used towels, blankets, and sheets that I bought that were new to wrap everything with because I knew I would need the towels. Towels here are crap. You got to buy towels from Target, say. They're better quality towels than Target, or better grade stores than Walmart, I say. But you get towels really cheap here from Amazon, but you have to. Some of them, they charge fees. Drapes are is garbage here. Drapes are garbage and very expensive here. Bedding is very expensive here. You get bedding from the U.S. and ship it here or get it on Amazon, which is sheets and pillows and blankets and things like that. They don't even know what a blanket is here. A blanket to them is a sheet, so they don't get it. Because it's so hot here, nobody typically uses a blanket. There are some areas in the Philippines that it is cooler and you do need blankets, not here in Duba. Anyway, we're getting off subject. But in any case, just don't ship it as brand new. That's the big thing. And don't say it's brand new. Just say used tools. Take it out of the packaging, wrap it up in foam if you're worried about it, and send them over here. And I did that. Trying to do the last minute stuff before flying out early tomorrow morning. Oh, my God. Landing in Cebu. Well, it's a long flight, Texas trucker. So take some sleeping pills or bring a bottle of Tylenol with you on the plane. I won't say you should bring hydrocodone because it's typically not allowed, but I did that myself, actually. I was given hydrocodone, and I took a couple in my pocket and went through the metal detector, and luckily nobody picked up on it. Otherwise, you will get in trouble for having a drug without a prescription. And I was able to take hydrocodone on the plane and sleeping pills, and I slept most of the way. It's a long flight, and those seats are not comfortable after 8 hours. I assume all or most things are metric. Yes, everything is metric here. Pretty much everything is metric here, and you start learning it real fast because I'll say how many kilometers it is, or how many meters it is, or things like that. I forget, miles. You don't use miles or things like that here. Everything's metric, yes. Only America actually is on the U.S. scale. I mean, everywhere in the world, Mexico, everywhere in the world is metric. It's just the U.S. decided to be different. Yeah, it's in the ebook. T-shirts are coming out. I think you mentioned that the other day. I gotta do that. I gotta write that. In fact, that's another note for me. I gotta get T-shirts made that says it's in the ebook. I think that's the funniest thing. Yes, for flights each way, it takes a while, but it's always worth it. That's good. Okay, what do we got? Hey, Goldfinger. Hello, Mike. How you doing, Mike? When you coming back? I gotta put that. I gotta make that note. Oh shoot! Come on, phone. Open up. Oh, fourth. Okay. So where's my notes? Here it is. Money transfer was one thing I'm going to look up, and I'm going to look up the country that Philippe's in, and then I also have to put down. It's in the ebook. It's in the ebook. T-shirts. I think I'll do hats too. Because everybody always asks me the questions. I go, it's in the ebook. Get the free ebook. Everything's in the ebook. I was so tired of people asking me. The cardboard boxes, it depends on who you use to ship. Um, and mine was 2 foot by 2 foot by 3 foot. Pretty good size. Inside dimension, 2 by 2 by 3. But everybody has a little different size and a little different price. So he's coming back. Okay, Mike, come back in November. I'll be happy to see you, and we'll do a video. Check out my ebook on the helmets. Well, I get helmets, so I just got a whole bunch of helmets, and I supply helmets to the kids, but I supply helmets to the Filipinas, which wear child-size helmets. So I get all kinds of cartoon figures. I don't even know these different cartoon figures anymore because they're not the ones that I grew up with. They're the new ones, but they're beyond. I only knew Hello Kitty. That's old. They have a whole new ones now with different funky faces and stuff like that. So I get helmets in all different colors with all different kind of characters on it for children, and the Filipinos love them. And they're small. They're small instead of child's helmets, and they come with a visor, and they have the strap, and they're really nice. And you're looking at, geez, $5-6 a helmet. And they're perfect because they're actually even graded on the back as a helmet, as a motorbike helmet. So they're not just bike helmets; they're actually motor scooter helmets for kids. Hit the like button. Yep, hit the like button. I haven't been looking at that. How much is a massage there? I don't know. I never got a massage. It's cheap. Do you need to? Right now, I don't have a whole lot of motorbikes. I would say, don't worry about it. You said November. I'll probably be buying bikes. They just came out with the 2025 bikes just this month. So I'll be buying bikes probably next month anyway. I wouldn't worry about it, Mike. Well, see, if a drill press doesn't fit in a box, now you can take it apart. You could take the base off. You could take the stand apart. You could send the motor separately. You could take the handle, which is usually 3 or 4. You could take that, you could undo it with an Allen wrench and take that apart and pack it properly in foam and everything. But what I did was I sent a boat over, a nice boat. It was all air, heavy-duty rubber, but it was had an air pump that fills it. And it was too big for one box. So what I did was I asked if I could put 2 boxes together. And so it was double the height. And it fit in that with the oars and with the motor. And I didn't send the battery. It was a 12-volt motor. But I said I didn't send the fuel tank because the fuel tank was used. It had fumes, and I didn't want anything explosive. And I didn't send the fuel tank, and this particular motor happened to have been when I said fuel tank, I was talking about. I sent camping gear, but I didn't send the propane tanks. But I sent all kinds of camping gear. Coleman, all kinds of Coleman camping gear. The Coleman lights, the Coleman, because they said dirty kitchen. So I figured, well, if it's a dirty kitchen, it's like camping, and I did lots of camping as a kid. So I didn't send propane tanks, and I didn't send the battery on the electric motor on the boat. And basically, I just put 2 boxes together, used plywood on the inside, glued the plywood to the cardboard, so it was basically a wood box within the cardboard box. And I said, and they allowed me to. It just paid double box. So you can send anything. I'm going to go back home and get a Traeger pellet stove sent over here. I like barbecuing and smoking meats and ribs and stuff like that. So I'm going to go back and send a Traeger over here, so I don't have to pay the duties, because the duties get pretty high. 16 to 25% duties. If you buy it new from Amazon and it's over $200, you're going to pay 16 to 25% extra. Um, has anybody had an accident? Oh, yes, all the time. What is the liability situation? Okay, so what I do, Gary, is boy, a lot of questions coming in all of a sudden. What I do, Gary, is I carry third-party liability insurance on the scooters, which means it covers other people that you might hit or other property you might hit. It does not cover you. It does not cover the bike. Getting coverage on the bike because I'm renting them out would be excessive. You can get insurance yourself for your own body. I don't insure you. I don't insure the bike. I insure other people's property, other people's persons, and it's very cheap for $200,000 worth. 200,000 pesos worth of liability. 200,000 pesos. It costs me like I don't know, it's 350, $7 a year. That's how cheap it is. Okay, so I supply that. Do bikes come back damaged? Sometimes, not too often. Sometimes, and the cost of repair here is very cheap because the bikes themselves are very cheap, and the repair parts are very cheap, and the labor is even cheaper. So it's never been a whole lot of money. Only once did I have a guy actually damage a bike where he had to pay for the whole bike. Once. And it was in unusual circumstances. But he really wrecked the bike. Okay, he really wrecked the bike. And the cost of repair almost equaled the value of the bike. So it was a total loss. And that cost him, a new bike here is $3,000 for a big bike. He happened to rent a big ADV, a brand new one. So that cost him $3,000. Anything else from that, really, I can't think of anything that actually happened anywhere as close to that. Worst comes to worst, I think I've had 3,500 pesos, 4,500 pesos, under $100. 5,500 pesos, $100. I haven't, other than that particular bike and damage that he did, which was really bad. Luckily, he wasn't badly hurt. That was the good part. The bike took all the blunt force. But other than the guy that had to buy the whole bike, the worst damage I've ever had is less than $100. And it's happened multiple times. It happens. I just got hit literally today. A car scratched the bike. I mean, he didn't knock me over because I saw it coming. I'm driving straight and he T-boned me and he didn't stop at a stop sign. But he hit his brakes at the last minute and I swung to the left away from him. And so all it did was catch the back end of the bike and made the bike wiggle, but I didn't fall. I was a little bit shocked, a little surprised, but it happens. Did I make them pay? No, because here's the deal. You're always fault. You're always fault because you're the foreigner. So just so that you know, don't get angry. Don't be cussing at them. Don't blame them their fault. Don't expect them. They're going to call the police, and the police is going to come out, and they're going to ask you for your driver's license and ask you for your registration, and they're going to side most likely with the Filipino if it's a Filipino that hits you. And that's just the way it is. So I just said to the girl, listen, you need to slow down. She was a young girl. Didn't hurt the fact that she was cute. She was in her 20s. She had a big SUV, brand new. She was a cute girl. She was all upset and all upset. She knew I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I says, hold on, let me take a look at the bike because I knew it didn't do too much damage. It just made the bike wiggle. And I says, it's just a few scratches. Forget it. Go on your way. But you need to slow down, dear. And you're supposed to stop at the stop sign. That's why those lines on the road, you got to stop before that because she literally went right through the stop sign and slowed down, but did not stop and T-boned me. So yes, bikes do get damaged. You can send your guitars over, wrap them in blankets and sheets and towels and things like that. Just wrap them really good. Or you could I used to put things that are really valuable in a box, wrapped, and then I put that box within the Balak Beyond box. So you could do it. You could send guitars. Was it worth sending all that stuff out? No. No. And that's what I tell you in the ebook. It's not worth it. Because what happened was I sent it to Paul. That was probably, I know a lot of people have heard this story before. 8 boxes was sent to Paul. Paul stored it for me. I paid him for 2 years to store it. He gave the money to Baby Bay. Back then she had Baby's Bay's cooking. And I paid him every month to store it for me. And they closed the Philippines down because I literally sent it in January of 2020. And in March, when I had my ticket to come here, they closed the Philippines down 5 days before my flight left and canceled my flight. Not only did I not get here, and the stuff was here for a couple of years, and I paid for it, I also couldn't come here, but all my stuff was sent here. And finally, I told Paul, sell it, give it away, donate it. I'm done. I don't think I'll make it to the Philippines, because when they said we're going to lower the curve, and lower the curve went month after month, year after year, I finally gave up and told them, just give it away. I'm tired of paying for it. So was it worth it for me? No. Was it worth it for you? It would have been worth it. The way I looked at it was, if there's every box had to have $1,000 worth of stuff in it, because it cost me $100 to ship it. Did I plan on paying storage fees? No. Did I plan on giving up and telling them to give it away? No. That's just the way it is. I've heard of boxes gone missing, and I've heard of people that have had their boxes pilfered because they put it in laptops. Don't tell them you put in laptops. Don't put them. You put in cell phones or electronics. Don't bother even sending anything that works on 110 volts, because you don't have 110 volts here, and typically you're not going to get a true 110 volts here, even with transformers and converters. So you take your chances. But my idea was, if it had $1,000 worth of stuff in it, and some was some papers that I really didn't want to lose, like divorce papers or legal papers or things like that, or tax papers, because I still was responsible for taxes for several years. I told Paul, save anything that's paperwork, just save it for me, and if I ever get there, if I ever need it. And I actually did need it. I was in Mexico, and 2.5 years later, I told him to ship me some papers I needed. I don't remember what it was, but some kind of documents I needed in Mexico. And he shipped it to me, and it cost me several $100s to get FedEx to send it for the Philippines to Mexico, and it was just horrendous. Forget it. So really think about it before you ship it, because if it's just a memento, forget about it. It's something from grandma, let it go. You won't. Do I miss it now? I lost all my tools. I miss the tools. Do I remember everything else? Yeah, I bought stuff from Target. I bought pots and pans brand new, took them out of the box, and packed them with new towels and new blankets and new sheets and pillowcases. I bought new tennis shoes, new flip-flops. I bought sandals, nice sandals that were on sale, brand new, underwear, clothes, gone. Do I really remember it all? Do I really care? Not so much anymore, but oh well. I figured out how to send my guitar. So yeah. So no, for me it wasn't worth it, but that's just, I had bad luck. You have someone in the States that will send your stuff as you live there. I have friends that tell me they'll send a ballot bonds because they're sending ballot bonds. They say, do you want anything? So I have friends that will send things. And if anybody's coming, I have expats here that ask me to ask people. So I'm going to ask you now. If anybody's planning on shipping some boxes over, I might ask you to purchase something. One guy likes chewing tobacco. It's not my thing, but he has a certain brand that he likes, and it has to be fresh. And you're allowed to bring over in your suitcase, or he doesn't want it shipped in a ballot box, but if you're bringing it over in your carry-on, because he doesn't want it to be 3 months old, I'll tell you what to bring for him. If you want to do that, just hit me up. My dad wants to come over there with very little and then just send stuff over as he needs it. That's fine. I sent a lot of food over. Dean, my friend, was shipping ballot boxes to his house. He asked me. I said, oh, yeah, buy a bunch of macaroni and cheese. We don't have Kraft macaroni and cheese, like I really need it. And by the time I got it and the time I used it, it was outdated. And one of my workers and Carolyn looked at the date, and they decided because it was 1 week or 1 month past the date, they threw it all out in the trash and didn't tell me. So 2 cases of macaroni and cheese went out in the trash. I says, it's macaroni. Okay, it's not going to go bad. It's good forever. It's like, whatever. I wasn't too upset because I don't really need it. I also bought a bunch of things like sauces, cans of soup. They last for years. I like Campbell's, certain Campbell's, Supreme soups. Like, they don't have American food here is very limited. So, but you can actually buy it here when you get here. Anything you get you can get it from Amazon. Most things from Amazon get shipped here, not medications and not drugs. So if you're going to ship anything, ship medications, Tylenol, flu, aspirin, things that are large sizes of Tylenol or aspirin or things like that from Walmart. Very cheap in the U.S. Very expensive here. It's in the ebook. Seems like you could have replaced for the same. Yeah, you could have replaced for the same price or cheaper. Uh, let's see. Pit Boss is cheaper than Traeger. I'll have to check out Pit Boss. I don't know. I'll check that out, Charlie. I'm sure you mean Traeger for the barbecues. Hello from Florida. Hello, Adam. We're about to end. I've actually been over 2 hours. Does your ebook cover dental implants? Dental is very cheap here. The very best medical in the world and the cheapest is actually in Thailand. So if anybody needs any kind of serious medical, take a trip to Thailand and go to Thailand first. Visit there for a month and get your medical done. Whether it's very, very high quality medical, both dental or any other medical. The hospitals there are super high tech, and they're very professional, more so than the Philippines, and it's very cheap. What you pay if you pay 10% a copay, that would cover the full bill in Thailand. It's a little bit cheaper here, but I would get it done in Thailand if you could. There's a lot of different pellet stoves where I live in Canada for barbecue. Yeah, and you can get pellets. You have to order them. You have to get pellets shipped on a pellet stove. As far as smoking, you want to have a certain temperature, low temperature. So they do sell stoves here, but they work on coal or wood. Adjusting the temperature is a full-time job. Good morning from Kentucky. Happy 4th. Happy 4th. And then we have Texas Trucker. What am I missing here? I got to go further down. Oh, sorry. Pit Boss is cheaper, and it's from the same family that invented the Traeger. Okay, so Pit Boss. Okay, well, there's another thing I got to add to my phone. We're going to be checking this out tomorrow. I'll have to see if they could ship it, though, or if they have it on Amazon. Let's see, where is my notes? There's my notes. So we'll check out Pit Boss Barbecue or Pit Boss Smokers. Pit Boss Smokers. Sorry, guys, but I got to write this down while I think about it. I've got too many photos to remember. Good morning from Dallas, Texas. Happy 4th. Happy 4th. All right, guys, so it's getting to the point where I got to go pretty soon. I'm getting a little tired. So if anybody else has any other questions, and then I'm going to leave. Oop, I got some more. I didn't go all the way down. Hey, I got some money from Tony. Thank you, Tony. Well, we got to give you an air horn. And you also get the crazy chicken. Let me see. Is this a chicken? There's your chicken. All right. Anyway, thank you, Tony. Happy 4th, Lynn. Let's see. Let's celebrate their 10th Super on live stream. Trying to send my Traeger would cost as much as I paid for the grill. 700 series with Wi-Fi. Never got the Wi-Fi working right. It's big to fit in a box. You'd have to take it apart, maybe re-weld it. You put two boxes together. I don't know what to tell you, but you wouldn't want to ship it through Amazon because it's like that 700 is probably over $1,000 to get here. It's probably over $1,000 US dollars to get it here. Hello, Hallandale Beach, Florida. I requested your ebook. I will get that message. I will get that. Make sure you go to Goldfinger the Goldman 3 at Gmail. People have to realize that service in the Philippines is not regulated, including dental. My girlfriend worked at a dental clinic as a receptionist, made her into a hygienist without licensing. Yeah, I actually had a very bad experience with a dentist here who lied about cavities, and so the chicken was worth $5. You like that chicken? Here. Let's try. There's your chicken. We made him. We made it an automatic chicken. I don't know what to tell you. And then we have all kinds of special effects here. I've got. What do we got? We've got. There's a lot of things here. I have not shown you guys. But we'll get into that one day when I learn them all. There's a lot. Where do you buy your clothes? They're big sizes like me. Temu. They'll have 5X, 7X, 8X, 10X. Carolyn knows she buys it. And they're very good about taking things back, by the way. So If it isn't right, you just ship it back. And but there's no stores here where you can buy large clothes. Sometimes you'll see some that expats have left or they've lost weight. Because you do lose weight when you get over here. Good night, Gary. I will be going. So we're going to be going now pretty soon. I'm going to say goodbye. Don't forget, please give a like if you can. I'm going to go ahead and close this down and bring it back up here so I can read the last few. And then give a like, share, subscribe if you would. I'm going to do my closing music. And then I also have one more thing to add on this. Besides the clapping. And then the last thing we're going to add here is my girls. So my girls will say goodbye for me at the end. Let's see what else we got. Have a good night. Love you. Thanks for the late night live. Have fun and happy 4th. You got it. All right, we're about ready to close it down. Music stop.
That's my Goldfinger.
That's me, guys. See you later.